Hello, everybody.
Welcome back to another episode of
A BJJ Marriage, where we talk about our lives as a married jiu-jitsu couple.
Hello, welcome to another episode of BJJ Marriage, our stand-up episode.
Are you trying to be like in the Powerpuff Girls when you didn't see the head of anyone?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I plan on just standing this whole episode.
Okay.
I'm just
I was like, I don't know what you're doing. I'm going to drink my bloody.
Oh, yes. Cheers to Sunday mornings.
We have Bloody Marys right now. And coffee. We don't really record on Sunday mornings very often anymore, so we're enjoying it.
Very good.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Oh.
It's cold.
Cheers.
Lots of ice. Anyway,
So,
how was everyone's week? Did you reflect?
I reflected a little bit. We had a fun week of training this week. We had a special guest teacher come into Fluid, Mr. Janis, who was on one of our recent episodes, and he taught what he's famous for around Wisconsin area, which is the guillotine, which was super fun to get my neck choked for 2 hours, but it was super cool.
Is there a lot of coughing?
I did cough a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he teaches you how to strangle with the guillotine in a way that doesn't make you cough. But I don't know why I think I was being stubborn, and I was, I don't know, just hanging out too long to let them really get the whole motion going in. And yeah, I did end up coughing a bit. But I was smart beforehand because I knew it was a guillotine seminar, so I did some neck stretches on the mat before. And everybody was like, why is he doing headstands? What an idiot. Here I am, stretching out my neck, planning ahead.
That's normal for you, just doing random stuff before class. The other day, this week, someone was showing something about how to, like, jump up on your back. And Nick literally got on his back, and he had to try to lift his entire body off the ground using none of his limbs. And he did it. Oh, that was when David Miller was teaching.
That's right.
Okay, we were doing leg locks. That's what it was. I was trying to remember.
Yeah. So you know how you do like those hip ups, and then you kind of do it like with a triangle? So you lay on your back, and then you roll up to your shoulders and shoot your hips up?
Yeah, you throw your legs up and try to catch a leg or twist or do all that fun stuff. Well, basically, we were explained that when you do it, you should be lifting your entire body off the ground, like slide into the motion. And so then after we were done, everyone did the 1, 2, 3 clap, and then Nick was like, I need to try that. And then he just laid on his back. I was like, oh!
I probably jumped like half a foot.
It hurt, right?
I actually landed in not a bad spot.
Really?
I landed almost like a break fall. I didn't land directly in the middle of my back and knock the wind out of myself. Like he did, because I saw him do it.
You know, Tracy and I, when we were practicing the guard pulling this week, we both agreed that we hate doing it because of how you land. Like, it's really difficult to just, like, fall back and land on your back, in my opinion. Because we both were like, oh, I would just rather do the takedown. I'd rather be doing the initiative and just, like, take them down and get my points and then be able to pass or still be on my feet while they're on the ground. And I don't like guard pulling.
Well, when you do a proper guard pull, you don't really hit the ground. What happens is you put all of your weight into your opponent, and then they lower you to the ground. So you just gotta be meaner when you do it, and you don't actually like ever hit the ground.
Got it.
You know what I mean?
I just don't want to do it.
I get that.
But
something we gotta learn. Something we gotta learn.
Yep.
For sure.
But yeah, so it was a good week, and watched Nick try to be a dead bug, which was fun.
That was fun. But I was gonna say from the guillotine seminar, the couple things that he really wanted everybody to walk away with from a guillotine, or just jiu-jitsu principles in general, is every strangle is a compression, not an extension. So whenever you're trying to choke something, you don't want to like extend yourself to make the choke happen. Excuse me. You always want to compress in and squeeze everything together and use your whole body. Like an anaconda squeeze.
What accent was that?
I don't know. I have no idea. It's from a movie. I don't even remember what movie. I don't even think I saw the movie. Anyways, the second part is we want to make sure our elbows are coming home back to our rib cage. Because there's like 0% of the time in jiu-jitsu where if you bring your elbows back to your ribs, you're in a worse spot than where you were. Even when you're strangling somebody. Mm-hmm. Which was very cool.
For sure. I didn't go. Sounds cool, though. I know Josh is a good teacher. And
yes.
He's showed us a couple times how he does his guillotines. Like, I know there was one Tuesday that he showed up and he was trying to teach me how to get it a little bit smoother. Because, you know, I totally do everything smooth as is.
Absolutely.
But, no, that's cool. He breaks things down in a way that is very understandable for anyone from my rank to brand new white belt to black belts. Like, he's very good at explaining things. He's very good at explaining things. And we were his last stop of his guillotine tour, we can call it. He was teaching at a whole bunch of schools in the area. His whole guillotine, not his whole entire guillotine technique library, or you can call it a guillotine glossary, because that's what he's going to be filming for BJJ Fanatics next weekend. Whoop whoop.
Which is super cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, and
It's next weekend?
Yeah, next weekend he's going to Boston.
Nice.
He was saying that we should meet up on the way when he's driving home, and we're driving out there.
And do what?
Get a lunch.
Maybe.
Anyways.
He's driving?
I don't know.
Oh. Well, then how would we meet for lunch if he's not driving?
We might be, because he was the one that brought that up. So, But
we're going on vacation next week, and we're driving to New York City. So
New York.
Except
I have a show on Broadway to do.
That's not even open until September. You got time.
Exactly.
But yeah, so apparently Josh is driving to Boston, and then we're driving to New York. So he's saying that if we cross paths on our route, raccoon, then we can go get lunch. That'd be fun. That'd be cool. We're trying to leave Sunday night to drive through the night and then arrive in New York in the afternoon on Monday. That's the plan.
Fun.
So I don't know what his schedule's like, but Josh, let us know.
Let us know. Yes. Yeah, but that would be cool. So
BJJ Fanatics in Boston. That's pretty cool. When will that be coming out? Do you know? Did he say?
Next week Sunday. No,
it comes out right away?
No.
Okay, I was like, I don't feel like that's right.
No, there's a lot of editing involved and this or that type of stuff, but
yeah. Didn't he do a different BJJ Fanatics somewhere else?
No, he did BJJ Globetrotters.
Okay.
He's a Globetrotters coach.
That's right. Yeah, I did know that. For some reason, I thought he did a Fanatics video too.
There's a YouTube video of his guillotine class on BJJ Globetrotters, which I watched that before I went to the guillotine seminar, and it helped me out with the guillotine seminar.
Cool.
All good stuff.
I know my dad said he wants to try to get on BJJ Fanatics for his side control.
Yeah.
His Brenton control.
I think he could do it. This is how to be a stone meatball. You don't move. I move. You sometimes move where I want you.
That's and if I don't want you to move, you don't.
then you tap.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, that's how Brent's goes. Yes.
I still try to kill him though.
Yes.
I'm getting more successful at it. No, I'm not.
Yeah, I'm trying to turn it up, but that's what this episode is going to be about, is turning up our level of training. So we've been training a bit soft. But before we get to that, there was something pretty cool that you did this week.
What'd I do? That?
You made the thing.
Oh, we're talking about that right now? Okay.
Yeah.
So, Nick, I don't know if you guys pay attention to everything that we've always talked about, but Nick has done about 80 matches under his white and blue belts, his jiu-jitsu career. And so that's a lot of just a lot of competitions in general. How many are you at? Like 12? Maybe more? Like, there's a lot. Like, he's done probably close to 15 different competitions.
How many medals do I have? 18 medals?
Yeah.
So let's
say 2 at every one, just for the sake of it.
Right.
So yeah, it's 9 at least. And then a couple of them, you maybe only got 1 medal. So I would say like 10 to 15 competitions you've done. And based on how many competitions he's done and how many matches he's had, he's obviously won a lot. He's also lost some. But when you win or lose, you typically end up getting a medal in a competition, whether it's Naga or Grappling Industries or Fuji or whatever else is around your area. Combat Corner, Milwaukee's Midwest Best, which I know is more just the Midwest, but still, there's a lot of different ones out there. And he's been having a lot of medals kind of just gathering up in a box for a while.
Yeah.
You've been training for, what, 4 years now? About 4 years. So that's a lot of medals to just be kind of piling up. And I was like, we need to do something with this. So
she used her creative brain and came up with this.
If you're just listening and not watching, I'm sorry, but...
Bum, bum, bum.
Yeah, so...
Look at this guy.
These are all of his white belt medals. So none of the medals he received as a blue belt are on here, but that would be why the board is white and where we have the black stripe to symbolize a belt as the actual board. That's why it's long and skinny, too, is because I wanted it to look like a belt. And then all of his gold medals are at the top, his silvers, and then his bronze. And then our Fluid Jiu Jitsu logo, I had him sign it. And then the last thing we're going to do is I think I'm going to date under each of the medals here so that it says what date he received it. It's nice because the Naga ones on the back say July 28th of 2018, but...
That's a long time ago.
They're now super glued on this board, so they're not coming off. And I also cut them. They're cut. Nick came home and he was like, "Oh, you cut them?" And I was like, "Are you mad?" They're like, "You're never going to wear them again. What are you going to do with them?"
No, probably not.
So now they're displayed.
Yes.
And I don't know, I'm really excited about it. It took me a while to figure out what I wanted to do and how I wanted to present it. Like, I didn't know what kind of board I wanted, and then when I decided on a long skinny board to represent a belt, then I needed to figure out if I wanted a vertical or horizontal. And after I figured out that I wanted it vertical, then I had to figure out how I wanted to place them, if I wanted like golds at the top and silvers in the middle and bronze at the bottom, or if I wanted it to all look like this. Essentially, my first thought was to have them kind of wrap around, but the board wasn't long enough to do all of them because you just keep winning and you need to stop winning.
Excuse me.
And so yeah, then I decided on this design, and then the last part of deciding was if I wanted it all shifted down or all shifted up and where to put the logo and to put the black symbol here. So this is what we came up with, and I'm really excited about it. I'm really proud of it.
Yes, you did a great job, love.
Sanded it, painted it, glued it.
These two are from my first competition ever. I got double silver in white belt and no gi.
That's cool that you remember that.
Yeah. So these ones are special, which I think is pretty cool. This one has bite marks. Just kidding. But I remember I have a picture of me biting that medal.
Oh yeah, you and Miguel and Ellie.
Yeah, and we all got gold medals. And we tasted gold.
Ellie was also a white belt.
Hell yeah.
I think Miguel might have been blue by that point.
I think so.
He's purple now.
Yes. Very cool. These are cool memories. So, yeah, a date would be cool. And in 20 years, this will be worth like $12 or something.
No, but if we ever have our own gym, it'll just be cool to display in there too, rather than just on our wall in our house. I don't know, does it look cocky? Like, look at all my medals, bro.
I think it's cool.
Okay.
I've seen many people display their medals in a bunch of different ways. Obviously, I've seen like high-level people put their ADC medals in like display cases and stuff. But, everybody starts somewhere. So you got to be proud of the accomplishments.
I think it's cool when gyms do their medals all along the edge of the ceiling. Like, they just have them all hanging. Like, that shows how many times they've competed, which is kind of cool. Yeah,
I've seen that too, but then I feel like you can't tell like which ones are yours or how many you have or anything like that.
Yeah, I get that. But yeah, this just showcases Nick Lee on a board.
A little bit.
As a white belt. So then when I do all of his blue belt ones soon, which we just counted last night, and he has 9 blue belt ones as well. But
only. It's bullshit.
What do you mean? There's 9 white belts too.
Yeah, but that was only a year and a half.
Well, you weren't in a pandemic when you were a white belt.
I know.
But
And I didn't have injuries as a white belt.
blue belt is basically going to look
Bullshit.
the exact same. Just different medals, obviously. Like, he has some Fuji and a couple other grappling industries that look different and things like that. But that board is going to be blue instead of white. But it's going to be the same size, same style. And we're just going to do them all the way up to brown belt. And then maybe for black belt, we'll do some other stuff. Because, one, you probably won't be competing as much as a black belt.
Hopefully, I am.
There's not that many people who are going to be your size, your rank.
We'll just, like, travel and compete and train and coach.
Okay.
You know? That's how it goes.
I mean, we'll see. Black belt's your longest belt, right? That's what we always like to talk about, is that you should enjoy the journey where you're at, because once you hit black belt, that's just where you're going to be for the rest of your life. So
until you get coral.
So you might as well enjoy the 2 to 5 years that you are a specific belt color, because even once you're past that, you're never going to be that again. Like, you're never going to be a white belt in jiu-jitsu ever again. I'll never be a lower stripe than I am in jiu-jitsu ever in the future than I am right now.
Yeah, even if you stopped training for 5 years and you came back, you would know some stuff.
Right. So it's humbling, but like, basically going off of that, you can't do a black belt board like this because it's infinite.
Yes, it will be very wide.
How many medals you'll get.
And very long, hopefully.
So we'll figure that out in a couple of years.
Yeah, we got some time.
Right.
Yeah.
But anyway, so...
Oh, yeah. I love this, so thank you. It's very cool.
It's almost his birthday. He's going to be 30 soon.
Oh, shit.
Turns 30 in 11 days.
All right. Time to make the best out of my 20s.
11 more days. Got to turn up.
Couple more weeks. Cheers. Bloody Marys.
Sunday fun day. Thirsty Thursday. But, yeah.
If I show up to the gym drunk, I'm sorry.
How's that feel? 11 more days of being in your 20s. Do you feel different at all? Like, at all?
Different than 10 years ago. Different than yesterday.
I don't know. It's up to you to decipher.
Yeah, day to day, you wouldn't feel different. But if I look back like 5 years, or 5 years before that, or 5 years before that, when I was like 15, things in my life are very different. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I've grown a lot.
That's weird to think about, right? Like, 5 years from now, we'll be in a completely different space than we are right now.
Yes.
Like, in life and in our mindset and everything. Like, we're just going to be different people. Mm-hmm. But I think that's the coolest part about marriage. Or even if you're not married and you decide to just stay together, like, the coolest thing about being with someone is that you get to grow together through all of those phases in your life. And, like, we've been together for 7 years. 7 years.
I think it's more than that.
I think we met in 2014. So it's been...
That sounds about right.
I think we met in May of 2014. So it's been over 7 years now. So...
Wow.
First of all, we're bound to stay friends forever.
Yes.
That's what psychologists say. That if you know someone for more than 7 years, then you're bound to stay together. But I think that if you look at where we were 7 years ago, we were two completely different people.
Oh, yeah.
But we've made everything work up until now, and we're still here, and we're still together, and we're still learning about each other every single day. And I think that's just a really cool thing.
It is super cool.
And it's interesting to think about where we'll be in another 7 years from now, and how much we're going to grow from here to then.
Yeah. How many puppies or kids we'll have.
He tried to get me to buy a puppy yesterday.
Not really.
Are you sure you don't want a puppy? My dad's going to be watching this and he's going to be like, oh my God.
No, yeah, they were really cute.
Our friends just had a litter of 4 pit bull puppies and we thought about it, but God, I don't like puppies. I hate puppies. They're so annoying. You have to be home more for them. You have to train them. They're going to pee all over your stuff and they're going to eat all of your things and they are just not fun. I don't think they're fun. I think when other people have them, they're fun because then you can go play with them and then you can leave. But I don't want one. And I don't think I'll change my mind on that.
That sounds like fun. Everything sounds like fun to me. There's not many things that don't sound like fun, except for like eating salad all day. That would be like torture.
Mm-hmm.
I was starving yesterday, like all day. No breakfast. Barely had lunch.
You had a sausage bagel.
Yeah. That's
and tater tots.
Ooh.
And a caffeine flight.
That's not food. Drinks are not food.
It was good, though.
It was good. I enjoyed it.
Drinks can fill you up. That's why we're drinking a Bloody Mary right now. Yeah, we went to this place yesterday that we ended up getting a caffeine flight. So it was a board that had 4 different types of caffeinated beverages on it. So I think we had a Summer Breeze, which is like an energy drink. And then we had a white chocolate mocha latte. Then we had a
tea?
Caramel black tea. And the last one was a vanilla Americano. And it was super, super good.
I loved it. But I love caffeine, obviously.
Mm-hmm. And then it was my best friend's birthday yesterday. So her and I have been like really big on doing flights lately, like wine flights and bloody flights and mimosa flights and just things like that. So I ended up buying her a coffee flight for her birthday. And I actually got inspired from the place that we went to yesterday because I had seen on the internet a couple times that they were doing that throughout July and August. Well, if I say Facebook, can I get sued?
No.
But yeah, I saw that they were doing that and I was like, I'm going to do that for Desiree. I'm going to get her a coffee plate. So I literally like went shopping all around and I bought like a little board and then I bought glass mugs and I bought 2 different types of coffee. I bought 4 different types of syrup, got some honey, and I got some candles and some pop holders and just made it a whole coffee flight basket. It was really cute. I was really jealous. I almost thought about keeping it.
If you can't tell, Brittany's very creative.
Yeah.
She's good at that stuff.
I like it. It's so much fun.
That's good.
I've been doing this kind of stuff since I can remember. Like literally since elementary school. You were just here when we were going through all my craft box. Like everything in my craft box from elementary school. I chucked 90% of it, but that's just like how I am. I remember for a friend of mine in high school, I made her an entire magazine. Like a 40-page magazine, and every page was something completely different. Like I had quizzes, and I had puzzles, and I had ads, and I had pictures of her and I had trivia and everything. Yeah.
Wow.
I spent a long time on that. But
imagine
I made it,
if you had that amount of time nowadays.
I would have so much fun. And then for our wedding, I like DIY'd everything space that I possibly could. So I just really enjoy doing crafts. I remember there was one thing that I made for my dad for his birthday one year. And my dad does a lot of things. He has a lot of hobbies outside of jiu-jitsu. And so I ended up finding a picture of all of his favorite hobbies. So like he likes racing and he likes his fish tanks. He likes chocolate. He just pretty much everything that made my dad a person, like as he was his being in that point of time. I put it all on a board. And then I put a mirror in the middle so that whenever he looked at it, he could reflect on how he felt about the pictures around him that created who he was looking in the mirror today. That was my whole purpose with the mirror.
That's very creative.
Yeah. So that's just me. So if you ever need a project done, let me know because I can do it.
Right. So now the tough question is, can you bring any of that creativity into jiu-jitsu?
Yes.
Do you?
Sometimes. When I think about it. You know, I was just telling my coworker this week, actually, that I think one of the coolest things for me personally, and I don't know if a lot of people can relate to this, but I think the biggest benefit that I've gotten out of jiu-jitsu is that I am able to think clearly in stressful situations.
Yes.
And I know that's for a lot of people, but I don't know,
that's huge in life.
Just having like the anxiety about a lot of different things, like even trying to go to new event functions that you might not know everyone, or just trying to get yourself to do something. I always relate it back to, okay, well, if I'm in side control and I need to get out, I need to not die. How am I going to not die? So, yes. I don't know. It just helps me out a lot.
That's super huge. If you guys are a fan of Jocko and or Hickson Gracie, you should go listen to Jocko's latest podcast with Hickson Gracie. It's literally titled, You Do Well in Uncomfortable Situations. Something along those lines. And Hickson has a new book coming out called Breathe. It's coming out like next week. And Jocko wrote the foreword of that book, talking about the story of when he first rolled with Hickson. And Hickson told him, when Jocko was a blue belt, which is super cool, Hickson was like, you stay calm in bad situations, and that's a hard thing to do. Good job with that. And then he was like, you want to come train with me? And Jocko was like, fuck yeah, I want to come train with you.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Super cool. So I highly recommend listening to that podcast.
Is it on Spotify?
It is on all the podcast platforms. YouTube, Spotify.
Cool.
Wherever you can find Jocko.
So I wanted to listen to that this week, and I couldn't remember who the other name was. Like, I knew it was Hickson Gracie, but I could not remember Jocko's name. So I looked up a Hickson Gracie podcast on Spotify, and I was like, okay, I'll listen to this one. And I noticed it was from 2014, but it's with Joe Rogan. And I was like, this works. I'll listen to this too. Yeah. So I'm like half hour into that one right now.
Nice. It's really cool listening to Hickson in that podcast also, because there's a lot of stories he tells, and a lot of the ways that he talks about things is very much the same that Master Sauer talks about things and tells stories.
Well, they're friends, don't you know?
I know.
He threatened to tell him
I wouldn't know
about
if
my
they're
dog.
friends.
He said they were friends.
Yeah, I know they're friends, but Master Sauer always talks about Hickson as his nightmare.
Shivers.
Yeah, he's
Shivers.
like...
When he...
Hickson.
I think he more does that for like dramatic effect. I
He
really
could.
do. I really do.
He could, but still. But I know they like grew up together and everything, and obviously Master Sauer was one of the only black belts promoted by Elio Gracie as part of the Gracie family. He's one of the only associations that's still Academia de Gracie, which is why they have the AG logo in the Pedro Sauer Association logo.
Cool. My favorite story about that, and maybe we've told it before, but just in case you don't know it, Pedro Sauer, Master Sauer, he was staying here at our house, and it was the first time I had met him last year, and I was telling him, oh my gosh, like, I didn't know that you trained with Hickson, that's super cool, and my dad was a huge fan of Hickson Gracie, like, he loved learning from him and watching his videos and doing all that stuff, and he admired him so much that we actually named our dog Hickson Gracie. And Pedro Sauer just started laughing, and he goes, oh, I'll have to let Hickson know. And I'm like, oh my God, I didn't know you still talk to him. Please don't tell him I named a dog after him.
Super funny. And this dog was not a killer dog.
No, that dog was a dumb dog. He was so cute, though. He was a little Bichon Frise, and he was all fluffy, and he was the biggest Bichon I've ever seen in my entire life, though. He was like 17 pounds. Bichons are normally like 10 to 12 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah. He was massive.
Exciting. Yeah. But yeah, I would highly recommend listening to that. But yeah, there was another cool thing. I was talking to my buddy. He just went out to Seattle, and he was talking about how he was watching at the gym he goes to in Seattle, his instructor, and there was another black belt that started training there, and both the black belts were rolling, and everybody else that was rolling just kind of stopped and started watching them roll. And we were just talking about how whenever you watch black belts roll, that's when you really see the art come out in jiu-jitsu. Because the things they do and the way they move themselves, it's like a dance.
Yeah.
Instead of like when you see a purple belt smashing a white belt, and it's just like, this is boring.
Right. It's not boring, but...
I mean, sometimes like when the white belt's just laying there like doing the worst things they could do, and the purple belt's just like, la la la, okay, here's an arm bar. Like, it's cool, but it's also like, okay, we've seen this.
But things like that, that's what I'm saying. It's going to be crazy in 7 years from now where we're going to be. I mean, we look back at our competition matches from 2 years ago and we're like, why would we do that? And
From a
that
week
was
ago,
just,
and we're like,
yeah. But that was just not that long ago. Imagine how we're going to feel in 7 years. And then 7 years from then, we're going to think the 7-year version of us from the future is going to be awful too.
I don't think it's going to be awful. Oh, you mean in the past?
So I mean, like, in 14 years, we're going to think that 7 years ago, so 7 years, our future, is just going to be crazy. And it's going to be dumb.
Yeah.
Do dumb things all the time. But
We
so
learn
going
from
back
those
to
dumb things.
getting out of stressful situations, I would say that one of the most stressful things in jiu-jitsu is when you start on your feet.
Yeah?
I think so.
Does it just like when you say, hey, want to roll? And then they walk up to you and they're like, yeah. And then they don't sit down. And then you're like, oh.
Yeah. And I think that's how every
feeling?
conversation goes. I don't think that's just me. I think that's everyone. It's like, oh, we're starting standing. Okay. Like even the other day, Ellie came up to me and she slapped at me, but then she stood up and I was like, oh, we're standing? And she's like, is that okay? I'm like, sure, that's fine. Mm-hmm. So standing is just a whole different game, in my opinion. Like, there's different things to do. There's a whole lot more than just jiu-jitsu, in my opinion, when it comes to standing. Like, that's when your judo can really come in. Mm-hmm. That's when your taekwondo kicks can really come in. Not kicks, but just, like, movements and drills and karate. Like, you can incorporate pretty much any martial art into your stand-up game.
Yes.
And it's not really, like, straight jiu-jitsu until you're on the ground, unless it's wrestling.
A lot of judo, a lot of footwork,
mm-hmm.
a lot of stance, a lot of balance.
45-degree angles, and clinches. I would say clinching is a really important part of that.
Yeah, I always knee my opponent, then they let me take him down.
Okay. But, yeah, I think stand-up is extremely, extremely beneficial to a person's game, and I personally really enjoy doing stand-up. I am not good at stand-up, and I feel like a lot of people can relate with me on that, where I enjoy trying it out and I enjoy doing it, and maybe I like it a little bit more than a lot of other people, but I'm not good at it. Like, I can't guarantee I can go stand up with someone and I'll take them down.
I'd say the scariest part of stand up is the risk of injury. Mm-hmm. Because before I did a lot more stand up, and I'm pretty sure that's how I hurt my knees. From straight, like, dropping to my knees for going for shots or going for, like, drop seyanagi, as I like to do. And that's kind of where you drop underneath, turn around, and throw them up over your back. But, yeah, I do a lot of those types of movements. And if you're injured, it's way easier for you to re-injure yourself. So, like, right now, I have a sprained ankle I'm trying to heal from when it got popped in competition. And a couple people wanted to stand up. And I would play my stand-up game, and there would be times where I would have to, like, base hard. And then I'd be like, oh, I forgot my ankle hurts. Or right now I'm trying to heal my knees, and it's in a weird spot where it's called jumper's knee, right? So if I land hard, like a stomp, it's basically like I'm coming down from a jump, and I can feel it in my tendon. So I'm like, okay, also not great for me.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to find that balance. But I'm also trying to, like, I don't know, figure out how to fight off my back when I get taken down. So it's good to let people take me down. But I think stand-up is super beneficial in general.
Mm-hmm. I think it's good. And I think it helps you, again, think about stressful situations in the spur of a moment. Because you don't really have time to think too much. And if you do sit there and lollygag and stall too much, either they're going to pull guard on you or you're going to get taken down. Like, if you don't... I was actually just training with a girl in our gym. Her name is Ashley. And she wants to compete in 2 months. And I was like, okay, let's start working on it now. And I think she was a little...
I didn't know that. That's awesome. I'm going to start smashing her.
Did you see me doing stand-up with her for the last 2 days?
No, I was probably rolling.
But she wants to compete. And so I was like, okay, we got to start training now. And I think she was a little taken back when I first said that, where she was like, really? And I'm like, yep. Like, right now. I was like, if you want to compete in 2 months and you've never done it before, we should have started yesterday.
And tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day.
Yeah. So it was super cute. She's just got her first stripe, like, literally last week. And so she's very, very new to the sport. And I was like, okay, so all we're going to do is we're going to start on our feet, we're going to slap bump, and I want you to take me down. And she's like, anything? Huh? And I was like, yep, anything. I want to see where your head's at and what you're doing and where your game is at and where your angles are. And I just want to see what you do. So let's do it. So this girl, she literally slapped bump and she was standing like she would just casually in line. And I was like...
just standing there?
Yeah, like with her feet just right next to each other, like not in a combat sport base or anything. And I was like, what are you doing? Right. And she's like, well, I'm thinking about how I'm going to take you down. And I was like, well, you're not right now.
This is just not. You gotta see this?
Yeah.
Just stop that.
I was like, even if I did nothing to fight you right now, you would not take me down. So,
Oh, man.
first things first, let's change your feet.
No offense, Ashley. I hope you're watching.
No, it was adorable. I loved it. And
I hope you keep going for it.
everyone has to start somewhere. And she even said, she's like, oh. And then I told her to stand straight, and I pushed her back, and I was like, see how your base is off? And then I told her to switch her feet into a fight stance. And then I pushed her, and she's like, oh my gosh. And you could just see like the light bulb go off in her head, like, I should not stand like I do when I'm waiting at Starbucks. Got it. Okay.
I'm going to start tackling everybody at Starbucks. You need a better base. That sounds great.
We started working on her stand-up game, and she kept asking me, she was like, so do you go for the takedown? And I was like, yes. And she's like, okay, so you don't let them take you down. I'm like, absolutely not. Because if you don't do anything, they will. So you need to act first, and you need to act fast. So we worked on that.
Which is also something I did not do last weekend.
Right.
Except for the last match. But yes, great tips. Another thing I would say for stand-up, which it's pretty cool. There's like the main goal of taking someone down is pushing their hips behind their heels. They will fall over. But alternatively to that, anytime you do any sort of sweep in jiu-jitsu, you get your hips under their hips. And then you can basically control their weight and dump them wherever you need to. Obviously, there's a lot more that goes into it, but that's the main concept. If your hips are not underneath their hips, you're not
then
really going to get the sweep.
We dip.
So, now think about that when you're on your feet. There's a lot of sweeps that I've used on the ground that I was able to incorporate on the feet because it's the same concept. Either push their hips behind their feet with trips, or get your hips underneath their hips, and then you can rotate them, throw them, control them, and put them on the ground.
Yep.
And smash.
I think another big thing with takedowns that not a lot of people really think about too much is that you need to stay connected. And, I mean, it's just like being on the ground. If you're trying to sweep someone, but you just have a loose underhook, or you have a loose overhook, or you don't have the proper grip on your lapel or sleeve or wherever you're grabbing, you're not going to be able to do a successful sweep, or at least not the way that you want it to. So it's the same way with stand-up. Like, my personal favorite takedown is a fireman's. And for a fireman's to work effectively...
Want to demonstrate it real quick?
No. You literally have to take their entire arm and shove it to the ground, basically, so that their armpit is on the back of your neck. And that's the way that I like to do it. I know there's a bunch of different versions, but if I don't hold their arm tight against my arm or my chest or trying to get it to the ground, and I feel a little bit of space between their armpit and my neck, I know I'm not going to get that takedown. Like, I have to really crunch them down, pull them.
Posture yourself up into it.
Yep, so that I can get my connection and I can get them to where I want them to go. Because if I'm loose with it, they're going to either get out of it, or it's going to be just super slappy and I'm not going to end up where I want to. So Stay connected is one of the biggest things that I was trying to tell Ashley too with her takedowns. Because as soon as she would start feeling me fall, she would kind of like let go. And I'm like, no, you either need to move or just don't go through with it. And Absolutely. I mean, every takedown's different. There's thousands of different takedowns you could do and variations of each one and everything. But the ones that I work on the most, you definitely need to stay connected.
Yeah. Yeah, and one thing that I also like to think about with takedowns or stand-up in general is jiu-jitsu is typically thought of in like 2 degree. Like, you're on the ground, either on the bottom or the top. And Mike Coy, one of the black belts at our gym, said it best. We need to learn the third dimension. The third dimension of jiu-jitsu. Which is when you're standing up on the ground. That's the third dimension. So we got this plane, and the z-axis that we have to worry about.
Yeah.
And it's super fun.
And I think stand-up is just such a scary thing for so many people because, like Nick said, there's a lot more chance of injury. But also...
The older you get, the bigger you are, the harder you fall.
Right. But I mean, there's just so much to it. I feel like... I don't know. Whenever someone does ask you for stand-up, your brain just kind of like goes in panic mode, I feel.
Sometimes. But when your dad and I kind of stand up a little bit, I start to get a little worried. Like,
Yeah, someone knows what they're doing.
yeah. But I was going to say, shoot, it was on the tip of my tongue.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Anyway, so I was asking one of our fellow teammates, I was telling him, because people keep asking me, and I get this question very, very, very frequently. I would say just about every week. And they're like, when are you going to compete next? Or are you doing the next competition? Or all this stuff. And I'm like, no. And every time I say no, they always freak out a little bit. And they're like, why? You're so good at it. Like, you won gold the last 2 times. Like, why wouldn't you do it? And I'm like, because I don't want to. And then they always seem like so taken back by it because they're always like, you're such a good grappler. You're so good at white belt. You can kick their butt. Why would you not want to go prove it? And I'm like, because, and I can never like really put my finger on why I don't like competing. But I was talking to a teammate and I was saying that. I was like, I just don't know why I don't like it because I really don't feel like it's any different than rolling in the gym. I feel like when you're in the gym, you're still fighting. You're still in positions that you need to get out of. You're still training. And when you're on the mat, I guess the only difference is that there's people watching you. And so I could not put my finger on that. And then Ian was able to tell me, he was just like, I think it's just the trust factor in it. Like, you don't know who these people are. You don't know what their game is like. You don't know what they're going to do. You don't know if they're going to try to hurt you because you don't know what their style is at their gym. And so I think it really is just like subconsciously the trust factor in it. And I go, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
How old is he?
15.
What a wise statement for a 15-year-old.
Yeah. I was actually kind of impressed.
Yeah.
Because I asked him, I was like, are you doing the October Grappling Industries? And he said no. And I was like, oh, okay. And I didn't like pressure him at all, but he was just like, yeah, I don't think I'm going to compete again until I'm a blue belt. And I was like,
his reason is dumb, but continue.
No, his reason is because of that.
No, I heard his reason was because he wants to do leg locks in the next competition.
That's what he's saying out loud. But then when we got into it, it was because he actually, like, that's what we were talking about, the trust thing. He was like, no, like, even watching the videos, it makes my stomach hurt. He's like, I just don't like that feeling. And I was like, okay, I'm not alone. Like, I'm not the only person who's competed and then just doesn't want to anymore. So, yeah, we were talking about the trust factor. But then I brought it up to my dad a couple days later. And I was like, I don't understand what it is about competing that I don't like. Because I like rolling and I like stand-up and I like training. So I don't understand what it is about competition that, like, makes me physically ill. And he also said the trust thing, but then he also said the stand-up part. He said standing up and starting on your feet is different because we don't do that in the gym. And again, you don't know what they're going to do and you don't know if you're going to get hurt. Because once I'm on the ground in a competition, I do feel better. Mm-hmm. Like, once the stand-up part is done. But I also
That's
feel
why
like,
so many people pull guard there.
But I also feel like I have so much to prove because I do work on stand-up so much before competition. Like, I drill with Adam over and over and over and over and over and over on specific takedowns that I want to get. And so I feel like when I'm under that pressure with all the people watching me and the cameras on me and the ref coaching and everything, I feel like I need to get my takedown to prove to myself that my training paid off. And so I think that really, really, really bothers me.
I think you put too much pressure on the one aspect of jiu-jitsu.
I want my takedown.
I know you do.
I normally get it. I've gotten my takedown in every round except for the one time I got guillotine and the 2 times I got pulled guard on. Otherwise, all the other ones I've gotten my takedown. In
the last competition, out of my 5 matches, only one person took me down. Everybody else, I got the takedown or they pulled guard on me.
Yeah.
And I still fucking lost everything, so look what that says.
Well, you didn't have the drive for it.
Well, I had enough just for that one takedown, I guess. No, 2 takedowns. Anyways.
Yeah, we do say in our gym that if you initiate the takedown and you get your takedown, then you have like a 75% chance of winning that match because you've now set the tone for the match. So
yeah, I broke that statistic.
You were in the 25%. But no, if you are aggressive on the mat and you're taking them down, they're now going to be like, oh, this person came to play. And then they're now already down by 2 points because you took them down. And then they have to scramble to not lose.
It's true.
So it's not like a guaranteed if you take them down, you're going to win. But it's a higher percentage chance.
Yeah. Next competition, I'm going to come out on fire. I feel it.
Balls to the wall.
What?
Balls to the wall.
Yeah, that's how I normally compete.
Your opponent should be scared.
Yeah. Do you remember last time I was talking about how I wanted to play more of a technical game?
Yeah.
That backfired the fuck out of me. Like, no, that's not. I mean, obviously, yes, I want to say technical, but I really need to like blast them immediately, and then they're gonna be like, shit.
So, what would you say out of all the components of stand-up is the most important to you?
Because
it could be different for everyone.
Yeah, I really think balance is important, because if somebody's whipping you around and you're hopping on one foot, you have no balance. If you lean all your weight on one foot, like forward, like sometimes a lot of people have a staggered stance, but their weight is all on one foot, you're going to get taken down. So you got to be able to shift your weight between both of your feet effortlessly with your footwork. So the thing that's helped me out most with that, Muay Thai. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. I think that's one of the big reasons it's hard to take me down. Also, Muay Thai sweeps has helped me stop. Like, if somebody's got a single leg and they're trying to foot sweep you, you'll know it's very hard to do that to me, because I will be like hopping up over your foot sweeps. Sometimes in Muay Thai, when people catch a kick, I jump up into a flying triangle. But that doesn't work so well in jiu-jitsu, because people aren't like, people don't hoist your leg up so high in jiu-jitsu that often. But like, I've done that.
I could picture that. Did you see that in my eyes too? I was just like,
oh,
whoa. Like, I was replaying it in my head of how that could work. That's insane.
Right. But obviously it's much more dangerous in no gi, because you don't have a gi to hold on to pull them down with you. But that's not my game in general. But it really helps me defending takedowns. And, you know, that kind of is a principle in jiu-jitsu that we teach at our gym. Learn how to defend first, and then learn how to attack once your defenses are very solid. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the most important part of stand-up, is learn how not to get taken down so that they get frustrated and want to pull guard anyways. And then the other part of stand-up that's super important. So this is my third thing. So I guess top 3 things in stand-up, right? But the other thing that's really important with stand-up is, just like if you're on the ground, if you're trying to get a move off, you don't just try one thing, it doesn't work, and then you're like, well, I guess that didn't work.
Yeah, that was going to be mine.
Yeah, you want to chain things together. Mm-hmm. So one of the things I found that's really effective, it kind of looks not that pretty, but if you go for a takedown and they're defending it, but you just keep driving like a fucking freight train, they're going to fall down after like 2 or 3 or 4 steps. Like, no matter what you're trying to do.
Drive, yeah.
They can't, like, you can't sprawl like 5 times in a row. And if they do, then you cut the angle. And then if they do, you cut the
like
other
a
angle.
Freight train.
Exactly. Well, you saw that even in my other match. Yeah, like,
no, I saw it.
I was holding onto their hips and just like going forward.
I did that to Alex this week.
Right. You do want to cut the angle here and there, but like, they can't stop you forever.
Yeah. Alex is a perfect example for that for me, though, because he's one of the people that's in the gym. He's very new. He just started a couple weeks ago. And
you're talking about Alex with very short hair, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
and
apparently he's trained MMA for a while, like a few years.
Oh, okay. Well, he's really new at jiu-jitsu. Yeah. So he really wanted to do stand-up with me. And he's 200 and probably like 15 pounds, maybe more.
Around 200.
Yeah. He's...
What?
Okay.
Woman trying to kill me.
Excuse him. But...
Sorry.
So he's like 215 and I'm 140. And he was like, you want to roll? And I was like, okay. And then he starts standing up and I was like, whoa, okay. And then I immediately, like, Adam, if you're listening to this, thanks. So I was like, okay, I'm going to try it. I'm going to see how this goes for me. Because seriously, if I was getting attacked by someone on the streets, this is probably what it's going to be like. So I should...
You don't just tell him to sit down? Hey, buddy, hold on. Let's sit down.
But... yeah, so I was really excited about it, actually. Like, I don't think I was really scared. I think my brain did go into panic a little bit, but not because I was scared. It was because I was just like, this guy's a lot bigger than me. And now this is a good time for me to showcase like what I need to work on. And
That's a great mindset, by the way. Okay.
And I took my time in trying to go for stuff. I definitely failed at a lot of things I was trying to go for because he does train MMA, so he was able to stuff a lot of the things that I was going for. And I remember I went for a fireman's and I lost connection almost right away. So I didn't end up finishing that. But because I was already down on my knees and my fireman's failed, I did what he said and I literally just drove like a freight train. I jumped up in the sprawl position and I just drove and dumped him down. And I was like, I did it! And I was so excited. Like, I was literally so happy.
And your hips were under his hips.
Yeah.
Principles 2 and 3.
And then he got up right away. But I was like,
that's okay.
Oh my God. I was like, okay. So, and it just goes along with if something fails, you just try the next thing. And
Absolutely.
So what I think happened was
also a great metaphor for life.
Yes. I was holding his wrist. And I think I tapped his leg to try to get him to fake because I wanted him to bring out a leg for me to go for a fireman's because I was thinking about how I wanted to do my fireman's. And he ended up putting it out in front. I dumped down, lost connection, was already on my knees, grabbed that single leg. He tried to fight me, and then I just kept running. So that was 4 different takedowns that I went for. I went for a fake single leg, a failed fireman's, a failed single leg, into a blast double until I got him to the ground.
That's super cool. I love takedowns.
Yeah.
There are lots of great resources if you're trying to learn takedowns. First of all, if you're in the Milwaukee area, come try out a judo for jiu-jitsu class from Mike Coy, what we have on Sundays, every other Sunday, which is fantastic. I've been through that class a couple times, and he teaches great things. But besides that, I believe that there's a new BJJ Fanatics video. There's this woman, I can't remember her name, but she's like a wrestling champ and a jiu-jitsu black belt. And she has like probably like over 15 hours of gi and no gi takedown breakdowns. Nice. And she's a woman. So she's not like 250 pounds, just like, yeah, you just like push them over and they fall. So if you're trying to learn takedowns, I'm sure that's one of the best resources you can look for. Somebody that's smaller than most of their opponents, but able to take them down.
I think takedowns are
in gi and no gi. Because those are different worlds. As much as they are on the ground, I'd say it's more emphasized standing up.
Yeah. I think takedowns are extremely important to drill. Yeah. Like, you can't just get your takedown once and be like, okay, I'm done, I'm ready. Yes. Like, you have to drill that crap. Absolutely. Like, literally 30 times. Continue.
Yeah. And the 2 things off of this ideas right now is when you drill your takedowns, make sure that you go from takedown and you don't just, like, take them down and stand right back up. Take them down into a controlled position, even if you have to scramble for a few seconds. If you're doing like live takedown drills, make sure that you take them down into a controlled position, whether it's in their guard, inside control, in half guard, in turtle, wherever you take them down to. Make sure you control them afterwards when you're drilling, because that's what it's going to be like when you're live going through jiu-jitsu. And that other thing I was going to bring up a few moments ago when I had a brain fart before I choked on the frog in my Bloody Mary, is the hardest part about stand-up versus on the ground jiu-jitsu is you have 0 time to hesitate. Yeah. That's what I was going to say. Yep. Because like on the ground, if somebody's going for something, you can kind of like, you can slow down on the ground if you know what you're doing. You can slow down your passes. You can slow down submission attempts. You can slow down sweeps. You can just like sit heavy with a good base and like don't move, and then they can't do anything. But if you try doing that at stand-up, the other person is so mobile because the ground is not in the way that they can just go around you and pick you up from a different angle. So you have, like I said, almost no time to hesitate for your reaction, for your defense, or for your takedown attacks.
Yep. And that's why I think it's really important to drill it over and over and over until you're comfortable with it. And then when you're comfortable with your takedown, go try it on someone else, because then you won't be anymore.
Right. And when you're doing takedowns, or when you're drilling anything in jiu-jitsu for this matter, it's a cliche, and McGregor has a tattooed on his forearm, so I don't know what that says about it. But if you can do something still slow, right? You start out very slow, and you make the mechanics work. Master Sauer says it all the time. Do slow motion jiu-jitsu and see how that works. Slow is smooth. Smooth is fast. Fast is dangerous. Right? So if you can do it slow, then you can do it fast. Then you can start training it fast. And once you can do it fast and smooth, then you're dangerous. Mm-hmm. So with everything, start your drills slow as shit. Like I said, slow motion jiu-jitsu, like Master Sauer says. Mm-hmm. Because that's really going to help you like understand the mechanics and the technical aspects of whatever move you're doing. And then when you can start to speed that up and add in a little bit of muscle sometimes, a little bit of ferocity into that technique. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast, fast is dangerous.
Mm-hmm. It's a cool way to put it. That's why flow rolling is so important, I think.
Yes, but even then, that's not super slow motion.
No.
It's
fast
slower.
Motion.
Right.
Fast motion, zero strength.
Yeah. Which is a good skill also.
Yeah.
For sure. But yeah, I think that's hugely important whenever you're drilling anything jiu-jitsu. Stand up, sweeps, submissions.
Yeah. I think everyone should practice stand up, even if you don't do it regularly, or especially if you're scared of it. I feel like you should try it, because the more comfortable you get with it, the more confident you'll feel in your jiu-jitsu on the ground and just walking around, knowing that you can probably do it. Like, I feel a lot better this week knowing that I could take Alex down. It took me a lot of tries, and I definitely didn't do it on my first try. Like, that missed 4-step process, that was not my first try. That was probably 5 minutes in.
Right.
But it's just it's a good skill to have, especially if you want to continue training, and especially if you want to compete. You cannot go in competing and not know how to at least defend a takedown, I should say. You maybe you don't want to know how to do one because you would rather pull guard, and that's your call, it's your jiu-jitsu, whatever you want to do, but you should at least know how to defend a takedown in case it comes at you.
That's right.
So there's so much that I feel like we could talk about with stand-up, and I feel like an hour doesn't even begin to scratch the surface, but it is an hour, so I think we should wrap it up here.
Yes.
Maybe we'll continue this episode part 2 next week or something.
I want to wrestle. Do you want to wrestle with me?
No. I want to drink my bloody.
Well, the Bloody Mary's got me feeling like I should wrestle.
Oh my god. But
I only have 11 days left in my 20s, and I got to wrestle the shit out of it.
So next podcast, next week Sunday, guys, it's going to be Nick's last podcast in his 20s, and then he'll be 30.
Holy shit.
How exciting. And then the podcast after that will be coming to you from New York.
Yes.
Probably with my dad. So that's fun.
Yeah.
Maybe from our Airbnb.
Maybe we'll get Marcelo on the podcast?
Yeah, that'd be cool. He's not even going to be there the day that we're there. We might not even be able to get in. So.
Oh, we'll find out.
We'll find out.
Moving on.
But.
Yeah, well, tell us what your favorite takedown is in the comments on Facebook and comments on YouTube. Let us know what your favorite takedown is. Yeah. My favorite takedown is I do a foot sweep. So I sweep it, I hook it with my foot. I have no idea what it's called. But I get a collar and a sleeve. I pull them forward so their foot steps forward. I sweep their foot up with my foot to my hand. And then I push-pull. And then I step behind their foot. And then take them down.
Yep.
And then say, sucker. What up? Just like that.
Yeah, that's a fun one. I like firemen's.
Yeah. Your favorite's firemen's. So I was also going to say, I got cut off earlier, but you got me with the firemen's this week.
I remember.
And I did not give that to you, in case you're wondering. That's what I was going to say about it. I was surprised, and it was very well executed. And I was like, shit. So, great job, my love.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
No, I remember getting that, but there was like another 3 minutes in that round, so I don't think I emphasized that part.
Right.
But now that you bring that up, I'm like, yeah, I did that.
Yeah.
And I almost got you in a loop that same day.
Yeah. Almost got me in a loop.
Bull.
Dude, you know, like, the only person that could loop choke me is your dad, right?
I didn't actually finish it.
I know.
But I was close.
Yeah. I remember being in, someone in competition was trying to loop choke me. I think that's how they got my armbar.
Did you laugh?
But yeah, in my mind, I was like, ha. I was like, that's not going to happen.
I think that's how Dave feels after every choke. Whenever he gets choked, he's like, keep going.
Yeah. Okay, I remember, we're going to end this very soon, but I remember Dave was in a baseball bat choke on the bottom in competition, and the guy on top couldn't see his face, and he was like holding it, and he was looking at the ref like, is he okay? And the ref like came around like, are you okay? And Dave's like, uh-huh.
And then Dave went like this.
Yeah, Dave's like, oh yeah, I'm good. And both, they were like, what?
Dave doesn't get choked.
Yeah, I love it.
It's very difficult to choke
I think Dave has added an extra artery in his spine so that when you close off these two, he still gets blood to his brain and it's fine. Something weird like that, I don't know.
Yeah. But anyway, tell us what your favorite takedown is. Tell us if you're looking to compete soon. We'd be more than happy to work with you. I especially, not trying to be sexist or biased, but I especially love working with females, and particularly newer females who want to compete, because it's super fun to share my experience and my little bit of knowledge in jiu-jitsu, with people who are looking to compete, like Ashley.
The only thing you need to do to be a coach is to be enthusiastic, encouraging, and one step ahead.
Yes.
That's
and
it.
I do want to give a huge shout out to Adam Matson again for making me the way that I am today, because I wouldn't be able to help anyone else the way that I do without him.
Yeah, so. Adam's been huge. Another person that's been huge in our takedown journey is Mike Coy and Rob, which I miss dearly.
Oh my goodness.
So, with that, I hope you guys have a great week, and thanks for checking out my medal board
Thanks for listening.
White belt, and share this video, and have a great day.
Bye guys.